So yeah, welcome. My name's Chris Brown. I'm Community Cohesion Manager and I sit in a team called Stronger Communities in Southampton City Council. So part of the responsibilities of my team is to administer the grants for the City Council. So we've got ones that existed previously, like the Community Chest and also the Events Grant, but the ones that we're going to talk about today are new grants. So hence we thought a good idea to run through and put some extra information out for those of you who are thinking of applying for the bid. So go through just say the event's been recorded, and we're doing that so that if people can't make it today, we can always post it on our website. So the issues that we raise, that you raise, can be recorded and they can be shared with all applicants. So as I said, I think the desire is that we give potential applicants a better understanding of what we're the opportunities we're offering, and also the problems we're looking to solve, I think would be a fair thing to say. So this is a format, I guess, over the last 18 months or so we've all got used to in terms of being online more often, and I think it's that ability to add information in extra to it and deal with questions and answers through the Teams chat function. So as I'm going through the presentation today, if you've got any questions that you want answered, I've got colleagues who will be monitoring the chat and will come through with responses. At the end of my sort of part of it, I'll make sure that we go through and just make sure we've answered any queries that have come through there, just so that everyone's happy. As always, it's a new fund. There may not be questions we'll be able to answer today, but if we can't, then we will come back both to the individual but also publish them on the website, just so that everything is available for everyone. So I'm just going to go through in a minute about what the why these grants are important. So I think it's useful as an applicant, and I say that somebody who's sat on both sides of the fence, as it were, in the sense of I've applied for funding and I've also in the process of awarding funding. So hopefully I've got a balance from the experience I've picked up about both sides of that fence. And also I think what we're looking for in applications. So I've been in processes before where unfortunately it's been easy to reject applications because they've not been up to standard, and actually there might have been a really good idea behind that, but it's just not being expressed correctly. So I think again this is that opportunity just to add a bit more in, because I think we'd rather be in a position where we're having quite detailed discussions about applications because they're all good. So I'd rather be in that position, and great work for myself to be to go through those applications rather than it be easy because they're rejected because of something that's not right in them. So I'll go through the details of the three streams in that order: strengthening communities, protecting communities, and the youth fund. I'll go through the application guidelines that are posted on the web, and then, as I say, we'll go through the Q&A. I would hope it's going to be about half an hour or so, dependent on what queries that you raise or any information that you want to share with us. So I guess we have to be realistic about Southamptons. We do have areas of deprivation where there are poor health outcomes, poor educational attainment. We do have high levels of violence and ASB and certain antisocial behaviour. Apologies for that. But also we're dealing with young people in particular, where our public health data says we are dealing with higher levels of risk for self-harm and alcohol abuse in young people. And I've lifted from the corporate plan the quote there from Councillor Fitzhenry, who is the leader of the City Council, about the ambition of the administration that came in this year into the City Council and about what their direction of travel is. So I'll just let you give you a chance to read through that. So again, if you're doing applications, it's always important to understand what the the organisation that's holding the funds is seeking to achieve. So bear with me, I'll just move in. Going to strengthen communities and just talk about that. So the preamble is the same on all of the guidelines. Again, it's that scene setting about where the funding has come from, and this has been quite a bit of money that's been invested by the council in these areas, and with Stronger Communities we've helped to define and refine what the funds are. And so certainly the desire from the City Council is strengthen communities, and that's around, as you can see, activities, for want of a better expression, that are going to tackle crime and antisocial behaviour and promote safety and security in the neighbourhood. So examples of that could be sporting bids from neighbourhood watches, community associations, residents, friends groups. There's 40,000. That will be split between pro rata between the remainder of 21-22 and 22-23. So we'll have a full year's run next year. So again, the idea behind that is if we have communities coming together to work in their area about social issues, it creates a network which can be built on. But sometimes, particularly coming out of COVID, there's that need to provide a kickstart to some of these organisations, to form them, to get people together, to get them engaged in working together within their areas and communities. The deadline's 19th of November, so it's just over 3 weeks. It is a tight deadline, but we want to see traction and results within this financial year, so hence that's a deadline. But we do try and offset that tight deadline with providing a webinar today to get extra information out, and again, as I say, that will be shared. So we're looking for groups such as those listed: charities, volunteer groups, friends of, and one of the things we're keen of is either a legal status or provide evidence to host body. I think there's always an issue about providing funding to an individual. We want to see it going to groups, and even if that group is embryonic and the funding is to get them started, it's about showing that the building blocks are there with that organisation to be able to get off the ground and build on that. So some may exist already. For example, there are residents associations, neighbourhood watches that already exist that might just need a kickstart and leg up. So that explains around that. So community resolution projects, so there could be things around joint activity, things that are going to improve and reduce, so improve the neighbourhood in the sense of reducing some of the ills of it by moving, fly tipping, etc. So if communities are coming together to deliver that, that's certainly something that's welcome in applications. And again, I'll link on and show you at the end of the presentation, there's a whole source of data available to assist in applications that's all in one place that you can find out for your local ward or area. So those are, in terms of what it funds, there will be things that just go down to the AGM costs, because typically with these groups, if people want to get together over social activities such as providing a meal, etc. There is ability to do that, to provide food and drinks. If they're match funded, that will also be a great asset and strength, I think, to the application. But it's mainly around those support things that you need to get a group up and running, to publicise what you're doing, and also the administration behind it. So if you're up and running, that builds that base on which you can apply for other funding. So the list isn't exhaustive, but it's to give it a guidance and idea to have something that is, official, exists as a group, that we've got certainty about what their direction of travel is and what they want to achieve in their neighbourhoods, and how that's linked into the council aims that are in that first introduction part. So that's the strengthening communities. I'll go on to protecting communities, which again it's a new one. It's different because it's bidding to the council to have capital works done, and that is particular to combat crime and antisocial behaviour. So one of the examples there is around gates to stop motorcycles. So for example, there could be an area in your neighbourhood where there's a footpath that's commonly used by people riding mopeds or motorcycles illegally that use it as a cut through. So could a chicane barrier or something similar prevent that activity but still allow people to use that footpath? It could be around, and I know the example that's been previously been given is something like a bench that is attracting antisocial behaviour. Would removing that solve a problem? You know, it's not just about removing stuff, it's also about putting things in place that may stop antisocial behaviour or reduce crime or the threat of crime. What we're looking for there is applications to go through the ward councillor. So what that acts as is a little bit of a sifting house or sorting house for applications to come through, because some of them, they have to be legally and physically be capable of being delivered. So for example, closing a road may not be legally either desirable or possible. So we're going to have a panel with relevant highways, community safety, police to sit and look at applications that come through for that. But the idea is that local neighbourhoods know best about the issues in the neighbourhood, what causes the problems, and therefore what the solutions might be. So again, it's not looking for schools. There may well be friends of, for example, groups that exist but aren't statutorily under education authority that could apply, or other statutory agencies can't apply, so police can't apply for it. So it's very much about local neighbourhoods being able to define what they think the problems are and what the solutions are around the structure, the layout, etc. of where they live. So there's some more examples there of what can be funded, but also it's that works of the value for money, and that's really important because it is public money we're spending. We'll always have to make that assessment about does the cost of the work, is that proportionate to the gains in terms of reduction of crime and antisocial behaviour that will be leveraged by that. So that's a little bit more about that protecting the community. So in essence, that's that bidding in to have local physical layout design problems resolved by the council, and that would be very much on a needs basis assessment. We go on to the last one, which is a youth fund application, and this is I'm really pleased about this. So my background is working with the council as part of the violence reduction unit, and a lot of that is around working with young people to reduce knife crime, antisocial behaviour crime and violence with young people. And I think having more facilities available for young people in the city is really desirable to help combat that and offer alternatives to lack of provision that can exist in some of our communities. So it's 280,000. Again, will be pro rata across the 2 years. So a small amount this year, but then an amount for next year that will be able to give a full 12 months. We're saying maximum grant is 20,000 a year. Obviously, applications don't have to be 20,000. If you're bidding for 5 or 10,000, that's great. We can hopefully then meet more, set more bids and get more activities started. So again, funded to support young people, reduce incidents and opportunity for antisocial behaviour. Safety, safe places are really important for young people in the city as a result of the survey work that we've done. So somewhere where they're working with trusted adults where they feel safe to go. Again, same deadline for the grants of all these 19th of November. Who we're looking for applications. So again, it's in essence, if I were to put that down, not-for-profit type organisations, so ones where there are community based, or charities, volunteer groups, etc. And a lot of this, I know, interest has been from those who have existing provisions who want to expand them. So yeah, that's fine. It doesn't have to be starting from scratch if there are opportunities to expand existing provisions by, for example, if a youth group had to rent a property for the evening to deliver classes or whatever, if they want to bid for extra rent to be able to have the location to deliver the activity, then that would be great. So it doesn't have to be start from scratch. If you're existing already and you want to build on what you've got, as long as you can show that business case about why it would meet the criteria for this fund, then that will be great. Again, that legal status about that, it's that not going to an individual as such, it is going to some organisation that we can be confident about the spend, or holding that organisation to account for the delivery of that grant during there. If you have existing funding and you're saying, actually, we'd like to build on that existing funding, so some providers might be funded, for example, by the Office of the Police and Crime Commissioner, by lottery funding, that's fine, that's good. It's always good to expand on what there is. I put down also that there's potential to extend effective projects, so we're not going to say it's exclusory if you're awarded in year one. So this year doesn't automatically bar you from applying from year two. It could actually enhance your chances if we think it's an effective, or going to be an effective intervention activity. And again, we've got a list of different things. This is all on the website, so all these application guidelines are on the website about what we're looking for. But those are a snapshot. That's not, again, an exhaustive list. We really welcome innovation, different things that might be able to support that. But they're a good snapshot about what we think young people are asking for us in the city as a result of the survey work that we've done. And a lot of the, doesn't have to be about sport, it can be about social skills, and we've got there improving self-esteem, self-confidence. And as we go down to the list, there are those indications about what could be spent on there. So again, it's that we recognise that to provide some of these services, you also need the underpinning support, administration, etc., to achieve these things. So we recognise that you also organisations might need to spend money on achieving those. Again, the standard what can't be funded, and I think that large capital project, so this is about activity, this is about engaging with young people. It's a short-term fund in the sense that whilst we've got it spread over 2 years, we want to see that immediate offer to young people, immediate engagement with them, and that opportunity for them to be involved in activities that take them away from antisocial behaviour or being at risk of crime and other ills in the city. So that's why that application is there. It is very much about activity, and again, there's some of the things there that it's not there, but just being, I think, be aware of that when you're doing these applications, that again, that's the ethos and what we're looking for from those applications. It's about activities, it's about building on what's there already potentially, but getting young people involved in the here and now. Okay, let me just.
Sorry to interrupt. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that the slides don't seem to be moving, but just as I said that, they've changed, so I think you're back on track. Okay,
cool. Thank you. So I've run through. I'll close the screen down in a minute when I've just gone through this and just check the Q&A in the chat. But just some sources of information data for you. So obviously the information that I've pulled up is already on our community, on the Southampton City Council website under the community funds. There's a link there to it. There are lots of different sources of information about bid writing tips. I've just plotted one out of the air, thanks to the magic of Google, about if you're doing bids for the first time, about doing some extra research that might help you. Data, I mentioned data, and there's the Southampton Data Observatory, and for those of you who haven't seen that before, that's an amazing piece of work. So I say that these slides will be published as well on the website, but there's a whole host of different information that you can access there, including, for example, ward profiles that will have multiple layers of information and statistics. Not the be all and end all, but it does help you to, if you're in an area that has, really high level of antisocial behaviour, for example, you can evidence that through this. So again, it's not the be all and end all, but it does help you strengthen your case if you're in an area where there are particular risks for young people, for example, or particular risks for the community. And there's our email address there as well. So we'll put this on the website, but it's just a couple of sources of information for you to